Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi. Welcome, everyone, to our next webinar. This is going to be about multisensory learning. I want to welcome you today. Could you message in the group chat? I want to test something out and see if I can see your messages. Good evening. Hello. Okay, good. That's a good sign. Welcome. Hi. Thank you for coming here today. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I have a lot to cover today. If this is your first time at one of my webinars, I welcome you. If this is your second time with me, I welcome you. And I think we're on our fourth or fifth webinar in total in Poland. So if you haven't seen any of the other webinars, we still have another one coming up in 2 weeks. And I want to encourage you to come back for more because we have been sharing and encouraging each other with a wealth of information for teachers. So hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you today. So yes, welcome to the webinar about multisensory learning, teaching EFL with all 5 senses. So first of all, if you don't know who I am, my name is Hannah. I am from Illinois in the United States. I studied elementary education and I was a US certified teacher in the US. But shortly after, I moved to Korea and I have been an EFL teacher in Korea for 8 years. I've taught anywhere from pre-K to 6th grade. And now I am an ELT consultant and teacher trainer with eFuture, and I've done that for a year and a half. Now, today, everything that I share with you comes from my own experiences. It comes from what I studied. It comes from eFuture. However, every class is different. Every teacher is different. Every student is different. And that's the one thing I want you to take away from today is that we're all different. And it's a beautiful thing. And our teaching and our adapting to classes has to be flexible because every class is different. And so not everything I share will be applicable. That's okay. You can try it in a different class, maybe next year. But the whole point is that we need to try different things for different students. And so I hope today that you can walk away with some ideas, some motivation to try different things. It's okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. We just, as teachers, we continue to keep trying and learning. So that's what we're going to do today. You know your students in your class best. So it's really up to you how you take this information and use it. So today, we're going to explore how visual, auditory, kinesthetic, tactile, and reading and writing can boost memory and language retention while promoting high levels of engagement. So I know that I can't hear you, but if you could just humor me and say, engagement, engagement. That's what we want in our classes. And that's the goal of today is engagement. Can you type in the chat box? The chat box is your voice today. Say engagement. So to bring engagement, yeah, there we go, all caps, engagement. So today, to bring engagement, we're going to talk about fun, sensory-rich games that make English learning, like I said, engaging and memorable for students. And we're going to discover how to adapt multisensory activities for different age groups, different learning styles, and different classroom environments. So first, why should we use multisensory learning? First, it helps memory. The more senses that students are using, the deeper the learning is going to be. Next, it supports different learning styles. Not everyone learns the same. Every single teacher that is here right now learns differently. We might have similar learning styles, but we all learn differently. Maybe it's a combination of different learning styles. We are different people. So that's why we need to include multisensory for our students. They don't learn the same. We want to, when we use multisensory learning, we want to build fun classrooms, and we want to build curious students and confidence, especially with young EFL learners. Confidence is very, very, very important. And multisensory learning, it encourages deeper understanding. So students are not just memorizing, they're experiencing it in different ways. So they're not just reading it, but they're actually using it. Okay, so first, what are the five senses? We have sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. So as we explore different learning styles today, I will show these boxes at the top, and I want you to think about which senses are being used in each activity. So I'll pause and I'll ask you to type in the chat box and think about which senses are being used in that activity. And I hope that you will tell me as I ask you. Okay, so 5 is our number today. We talked about 5 senses, and now we're going to talk about 5 learning styles. There are many learning styles, but for the sake of today, I have combined some of them together. So our first superhero, I already showed you. Oops. Our first superhero is Mr. Vision. Okay, we have 5 superheroes for the 5 learning styles of today. Our next superhero is Auditory Girl. Auditory Girl, I am taking listening and speaking and putting it together. Next is Captain Kinesthetic, movement. He learns through moving. Next, we have Miss Tactile. Tactile is touching. And then our last learning style is the Radiant Reader and Writer. So first, we're going to do a memory game. Could you guys, in the chat box, could you choose 2 numbers? Can you tell me 2 numbers? And I will select it. 6 and 7. 6 and 7. I feel like that's an answer that students would choose. Okay, 6, 7. Okay, we want to try and find a match. Is that a match? No, let's try again. Oops. Okay. Not 6, 7. Okay, our next one is 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Is it a match? No, it's our phonics series and our course book series. Let's try it again. 5 and 3. Oh, not yet. We haven't found a match. 2 and 9. 2 and 9. No, our writing series, my first writing, and let's smile. 2 and 6. Let's see. Yay, we have a match. Okay, 7 and 10. Oh, I think I remember one. Do you guys remember? Did you see a match? 1 and 7. Our phonics and our writing. Do you remember where the other writing is? 11 and 12. There's our phonics. Oh, wait. 1 and 12. 1 and 12. Yay, we found the phonics series. 11 and 3. Teacher's manual. Our series have teacher's manuals that are really, really, really helpful. Yay, we still have some more. Can you help me find the others? Four and 9. 4 and 9. Oh, I think you're close. 5 and 8. There's the grammar. 7 and 9. Yay, we found my first writing. 5 and 7. Oh, we did 7. 8 and 10. Workbook, yay. And our last one, 4 and 5. My first grammar. So these are the books that I will be using as examples today, and you will see the little book in the corner of the examples that I use. So doing this activity, which sense did we use? Did we use sight, hearing, smell, taste, or touch? Sight, yes. Now, it's always best if we can combine more than one. Because we're doing a webinar today, it's kind of impossible for me to incorporate smell or taste or touch. But if we were to do a matching activity like this, we would, with the students, we want to make sure that they're talking, right? Your voice is your chat. So you were talking through the chat. So technically, I'm going to pretend that we used hearing and sight, because in a classroom, that's what we would be using. Okay, so because we used vision for that activity, we're going to talk about Mr. Vision first, our superhero who learns through seeing images, diagrams, maps, charts, other visual tools. His catchphrase is "See smart and learn strong." And all of these catchphrases and superheroes are my imagination. So Mr. Vision, he learns through sight. So we want to create activities for him that are beneficial. So maybe flashcards, videos and animations, colorful illustrations, and drawing and labeling, which I will show you next. So flashcards, they are very, very, very helpful, especially for young learners. Whether with phonics or course books, we have many flashcards available. They are in the back of the student book, but you can also download it from our website, big versions that you can use around your classroom. I'm going to play this video, and can you tell me if you hear the sound? Can you guys hear the sound? Okay, perfect.
Okay, now let's try. Okay, I have something here. Let's see what I have. Okay. What is it? Can you see? No? Okay. You want to see more? Yes. Okay, I'll show you more. Okay. What is it? No, so it's not a frog. Can you say more, please? More, please. Okay, I'll show you more. Okay, what is it? It's not a not lizard, but yeah, you're on the right track. Okay?
Okay, so that is a game called Slowly Revealing, and it's on our YouTube if you want to see more videos. A lot of the YouTube videos that I will show today, I used some of them last webinar that I used, and I use them as examples again and again to show that using flashcards, using games, using activities like this is really, really, really helpful for your classroom. But also, it's okay to repeat and do the same activities. Use the flashcard activities again and again because repetition is really beneficial for EFL learners, as well as doing the same activities again. Students love it when they know what is happening, when they can predict what's happening next. So it's very helpful. And that's why I'm going to show some of the same activities, but also new activities as well that we can use in our classroom. Okay, so this is another one from YouTube, and this is a fast version without any sound. It's called What's Missing, and so she goes over the words with the student, and they lay it out, and then she takes it away. She takes away one card, and he has to try and remember, oh, what card was it? I can't remember. So we're going to do a really fast version right now. So I want you to, I'm going to pretend that you say the words with me because it's important that we go over the words first. Okay, so we have lap and ham and map, ram, jam, nap, cap, dam. Okay, so with our students, we go over the words and then I take them away. I mix it up. I put it out again, but I take one away. Oh, what is it? What's missing? Did you see what it was? Oh, Ram, we have a smart student. Wow. Okay, let's do it again. 3, 2, 1. Of course, in the classroom, I would mix it up and put it back out. But for the sake of this PPT presentation, I didn't mix it. I think you're right. Yeah, it was nap. Good job. Okay, last one. 3, 2, 1. There were 2. Let's see. Jam and lap. I think you're right. Yay, good job. It makes it more complicated when you take it, you mix it up, and you put it back out. So for the younger students, I could leave it out like this, right? They're still guessing, they're still trying to remember the words. But for the older students, I would try and make it more difficult by mixing the order and the placement. So with this activity, with students, what senses would we be using? Is it sight, hearing, smell, taste, or touch? And again, we want to try and do a couple. Sight for sure. What else? Remember, I am using this as an example, but we would actually in the classroom be using flashcards. So it would actually be cards, not on a PPT. Yes, hearing, sight, hearing. And if we're using actual cards, it would be touch. Yes, of course. Okay. And so another helpful tool for Mr. Vision is videos and animations. So I'm going to show a little clip of this. So I have the book example on the left, and this is the video that goes along with it as well.
I like orange. Me too. I like purple. Me too.
I like green.
Me too. Look! Rainbow colors! Alex!
Okay, so with an example like this, yes, they are watching the video, but we want them to actually say it after. We want them to respond. We want them to read from the book. We could do an activity, like for example, I have balls. I think in this case, balloons would work better. So, because balls, maybe students throw it at each other. But let's pretend this is a balloon. And balloons you can keep in the air, right? You can tap it and it keeps in the air. So, and there are balloons in this example. So you can have the balloon and you can tap it, I like orange. And then another student has to say, me too. And then the next student, I like purple. So you could do it where they're just repeating one sentence. I like orange. I like orange. I like orange. I like orange. Or maybe when they tap it, they have to remember the order of the story. Maybe after they've done it several times, they can try and remember the order of the story. Or maybe while watching the video, you could have them, when she says, I like orange, maybe the students that like orange have to stand up and say, me too. Or when she says, I like purple, the students that like purple have to stand up and say, me too. So incorporating other things like balloons or standing, maybe reading with a partner, maybe doing dialogue with a partner. So we can use these videos and animations and stories in the book to have students doing it in different ways. So in these, let me pause it. In these examples that I just shared, what senses were we using? Of course, sight. But with the balloons, what else? I'm making sure you're paying attention. Touch. Yes. Sight and hearing and touch. Amazing. Yes. They're listening to the audio. They're repeating the audio. They are reading with a partner. They are saying it as they're touching the balloon. They're watching the video. They're hearing it. They're moving. So yeah, hearing too. So it's important to take a lot of helpful visual things like videos and animations, but not just watching it. A lot of times in this day and age, students are used to watching videos, but it's important that we incorporate other elements like movement, like actual tactile objects. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But here's another example of videos and animations. So here is a chant.
Tell me, what is it? It's a chair. It's a chair. A chair? Yes, a chair.
So what I would do for this example is, yes, they are watching the video. Yes, they are singing with the video, chanting with the video. They have the script in the book, but also we can have them as they're listening, as they're watching. We can have them maybe try and point to things in the classroom, use real objects for our visual learners. So when it says it's a chair, have them point to a chair. And then next time they hear chair, they have to point to a different chair. And then they say chair again, point to a different chair, point to a different chair. So each time they have to point to a different thing. And then this video goes on to do desk.
Tell me, what is it? It's a desk. It's a desk. A desk? Yes, a desk.
So each time they say desk, they have to point to a different desk. Maybe teacher's desk, student desk, student desk. So having them use real objects in the classroom as well as a great way to incorporate visuals for our visual learners. So, I mean, we are using sight, hearing, it's the same thing. Maybe they're pointing, but we can also have them touch. Maybe they go touch a chair, then go touch another chair, go touch a desk, touch the board, depending on how many students you have in the classroom setup. But my point in this is that we can use videos and animations, not just for sight and hearing, that's a given, but also we can try and incorporate movement and touch as well. The books, eFuture books, we like to incorporate a lot of colorful illustrations for our students. So looking at this picture, it can be overwhelming at first, but I want you to try and find the sentence. It says, they have a cake. Can you try and find the cake? Can you see the cake? I don't know if I can see the cake. Tell me if you see it. Do you see the cake? Oh, I see it. Maybe it's a sandwich. Oh, I see the cake. It's right there in the middle. Yes, you see it. Okay, perfect. So with this activity, one student is reading the sentences, the other student is trying to find it, and then they switch roles. That student reads and that student tries to find it in the picture. We can use the book, but also, again, use real life examples in the classroom. Maybe they take a sentence that says, so we said they have a cake. Maybe they change the sentence and they say they have a pencil and they have to find who has the pencil. Or things in the classroom. The toy is on the shelf or the ball is on the shelf and the students have to find it in the classroom. So taking examples like this, which are fun, they are fun reviews from the book, but you can also apply it to the classroom as well. Yes, and for the sake of time, so we used sight, right? Hearing, they're talking to each other. Maybe touching in the classroom. One student says the sentence, the other student has to touch it in the classroom, or even the book. The student says the sentence, the other student has to touch it in the book. Or maybe they're describing smells in the classroom. Maybe they're describing tastes. Maybe they can say it is sweet and red, and the student has to try and find a toy apple or a real apple or something in the classroom. So using information gaps where students look and find as a review is really, really, really helpful. Using activities like find the difference. Students can do this in partners. They can help each other. One student is looking at picture A, one student is looking at picture B, and they have to describe the picture to each other, saying, she's wearing a jacket, she's wearing a t-shirt. And you can see right here, I'm not sure if you can see. Okay, you can see my mouse. Where it says unit link, it says unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this activity, they are reviewing all of the units from 1 to 5. And there is an example sentence, like she's wearing a jacket and she's wearing a t-shirt. So students are creating their own sentences based on everything that they learned from units 1 to units 5. But we can also take this and turn it into a game. And I use this game example all the time because it's my favorite game to play in the classroom, because it's my students' favorite game to play. Every time I did this, they loved it and they would ask for it again and again and again. But basically, each student has a number. So students are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have different groups. Students go to sleep. and they love pretending like they're sleeping, because who doesn't love sleep? Students wake up when their number is called. So if I say number 1, wake up, and then I point to the board, and maybe I point to this person, this one, and this one. Student 1 has to remember this. And then I say, go to sleep. And then student 2, this one and this one. Okay, go to sleep. Student 3, wake up. Remember this one and remember this one. Student 4, wake up. Remember this one, remember this one. So I point out the differences. Then at the end, all the students wake up and then they explain what their difference was. And they have to use the example sentences. And so they are using what they have learned. They are using the sentences and the targets that they've already learned. They're reviewing it and using it in their own way. But I love doing this activity because students are engaged. It's a game, but they are using their own dialogue, their own ideas to explain to their classmates. And you could do this not just with differences, picture differences. You could do this in the classroom. Maybe you point to something in the classroom and they have to remember what it is. Or maybe you act out an action for student 1, maybe running. And then for student 2 is swimming or something. And you could do it with motions. And maybe the students have to describe what they thought the teacher was doing. So you could do information gap activities like this, where one student has the answer, another student doesn't have the answer. So you could do it in a variety of ways. And for our visual learners, it's very helpful that they are able to draw or label things. Here from the writing series, even though they're reading sentences, they're reading an example warm-up paragraph, they are still selecting and circling the answers. So they are labeling and decoding, but then also later they're creating idea webs. And they are practicing how to make a sentence using idea webs that are naturally taught to students throughout the book. The book makes it really easy for students to understand because it's step by step. There's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as you can see, my examples are step 1 and step 5. So I skipped ahead to show you that there are differences in the labeling and the visuals for the students. Okay, so how can we connect all 5 senses for visual learners? So here are some ideas that I have. For example, for sight, we can use flashcards and charts and videos. For hearing, we can pair the songs and the chants, but also using the subtitles on the video or using the book. Our books always, the songs have the lyrics in them. And also with the songs, do gestures. Use TPR, total physical response. So maybe one word, ball, they have to act like they have a ball. Or maybe every time they're listening to the audio and they're watching the video, every time they hear the word tell me, like the song, tell me, what is it? It's a chair. Maybe when they hear tell, they have to go like this. So as they are listening to certain parts and watching it on the video, we can also gestures. Gestures are a part of visuals. They're not just kinesthetic. Using actions are also a part of visual learning. Okay, touch. So letting students build words with letter tiles or sticky notes, or having them move around the classroom, doing picture walks or board races or acting activities. visual learning is combined in all of these things. And of course, taste and smell, it is kind of hard to, as I was making this PPT, I found it a little bit difficult to incorporate taste and smell because sometimes in English learning kindergartens, we can, like they do have lunch and snack, but sometimes they don't. And sometimes it's difficult to determine, okay, can I give them things that they can taste? But there are different ways around it. So I will give you some ideas that I have as we go on. But connecting lessons to real food and scents or cooking activities if possible, but it's not always possible. So when it's not, use imagination and discussion through images. So have them think, what would this taste like? What would this smell like? So yeah, that's true. Allergies. Yeah, it's very difficult. So as I give examples for taste and smell today, a lot of them will be imagination, which is okay for young learners because they have a big imagination. Yeah, like you said, allergies makes it difficult. Communication with parents, maybe sometimes they don't want their students eating. So I feel like it's safer to use imagination activities when it comes to taste, especially. But yes. Ooh, scented markers. I love that idea. Yeah. Yeah. Scents. We can use scents are easier than taste. Taste is difficult, but imagination is everything. Okay, so some tips for little learners. So turn the walls into learning tools. Use posters, charts, labels for references. So I love to fill up my classroom with so many visuals because let me rephrase that. The goal is to keep students engaged, but it is very difficult for us as teachers to keep them engaged the entire day, right? We are not clowns. We cannot keep them engaged the entire time. Sometimes they get disengaged. As long as we can bring them back, that's what's important. But when our students sometimes do get their energy or their focus is shifted, it's important that they have things in the classroom that they can look at, that they can still be encouraged by, still curious about, still learning about. So I have found that filling the classroom with, if possible, sometimes it's not possible in the building, but if possible, it's really, really helpful to have visual tools for the small learners. And again, all of these examples that I'm giving are if it's possible. I understand that as teachers, we have to be so flexible based on the building, based on many different factors. There's just some things that are out of our control, but it is helpful if possible. So model first, explain second. For young learners, I have found personally that if I talk and talk and talk and talk, they're not going to hear what I'm saying. So if I show how to do the activity, I don't have to say much. I have to say, watch. And I do it, and I say the activity, and I show it first. And I have two students come up, and they show it. That is so much more helpful for younger learners than me standing up there saying, do this, do this, do this, do that. So modeling first and then explaining, did you see how he did that? Did you see how he flipped the card and he said the word very clearly? Good job. So using examples is really, really, really beneficial. Using colors. So whether we are color coding the last sound of phonics words, or maybe grammar sentences or vocabulary, using different colors, different highlighting different things. Maybe you're writing on the board in a certain color, or maybe you are putting little post-it notes of different colors. just using colors in different ways is helpful for little learners. And making visuals interactive. So like I showed before, the matching games, the sorting cards, the hands-on visual activities. Even though it's tactile, it's also visual. Okay, so for older learners, it is really helpful for them to see their own lesson goals. So if the objectives are on the board, the vocabulary words, the objectives for the day, maybe a task, if it's on the board before starting the class, it's helpful for them to know what the goal is for the day. So they're not going into it without knowing. Everybody likes to know what they're doing. Using real world visuals, whether it's real photos or menus or maps or social media examples, things like that. And having them compare and contrast. So like the writing example, they used a map. They used a word map. They used maybe Venn diagrams, idea maps, charts, letting them organize. And have students create their own visuals. So whether they're making posters or other examples, maybe their own slides or comic strips, it's important that older students have the opportunity to express their ideas visually on their own. Maybe it's drawing a picture and explaining it. Okay, so we're moving on to the next sense. Our next superhero is Auditory Girl. She learns through listening and speaking. I've combined the two senses for Auditory Girl. She likes to discuss and have conversations and music using audio. Her catchphrase is learning sounds amazing. So here are some ideas for Auditory Girl. Songs and chants, call and response, listening for keywords, and presentations. So I'm going to go through this a little bit more quickly than Mr. Vision. But for call and response, simply having the students, putting them in teams and having them say different parts of a song. So first I will show you the song that we have.
The bug with the mug sits on the rug. The fox with the nut sits in the hut.
Okay, so this is the song, but after the students listen to the song many times, several times, again, we can use TPR, total physical response. Maybe when they hear bug, they have to go like, a bug or something. But having students do call and response. So maybe this is the green team and this is the blue team. So green team, blue team, red team. So I want the green team to say bug. The blue team says mug and the red team says rug. Are you ready? Here we go. We're going to say, so the teacher says the, and this group says bug with the mug sits on the rug. And we're going to see which team can say it the loudest. Okay, let's try it again. The bug with the mug sits on the rug. Okay, now we're going to change it. Maybe this time they say mug, they say bug, they say rug. And we can do this many times. It's important for audio that we repeat. And so maybe I have a student come to the front and they're the teacher and they say the with the sits on the. So having students, maybe with a partner, they say, one student says, the bug with the mug sits on the rug. Doing it in a variety of ways where one person says it, then the other person says it. And doing it again and again and again. Also, doing videos, like this is from phonics as well. They're learning am.
Am.
So I would pause it. We would sing it together, am, and then the teacher pauses it and the students say, damn, okay?
Am.
Ham. If you create information gaps, not information gaps, but sound gaps like this, then the students are going to be repeating it, but it's creating a gap, right? Where it makes them want to say it. Here, I'll finish the video before I get ahead of myself.
Ham. Am, jam. Am, ram. Am,
What is it? Damn.
damn. Am,
What is it? Ham.
ham.
So having the students, just simply by pausing the video and making the students say it, they can see it on the screen, but also it's really, really important to have them saying it themselves. And here we have another example.
App,
What is it? Cap.
app. App, lap. App,
Map. So pausing the videos, it's okay to not know things, because then the students are like, I know it, I can say it. And even use it throughout your daily school life. When the students line up, maybe I'll say app, and they can say any of the words we've learned, map, cap, lap. So I'll say app, and then they have to listen. They have to pay attention. Oh, the teacher is saying the phonics target of the day. So when I hear app, I'm going to try and think cap. And so we can use it as attention getters as well. So in this sort of activity, we are using sight, we're using hearing, and we can use movement, touch. We can use TPR as well. Using songs and chants. So for example, we have our video. We also have in the book, we have the lyrics here. So I'll just play it really quickly.
Shake your hands. Shake your arms. Shake your legs. Shake.
Okay, so what I would do with this activity, after we've listened to it, after we've read it in the book, and we used our magic finger to sing along and touch it in the book, then we would come up with the movement as well. With doing the movement, then we can change the speed. Maybe we do it really fast and we say, shake your hands, shake your arms, shake your legs, shake. Or we do it really slow. Or we, maybe we turn to the back of the classroom and we do it in this direction. Or maybe we do it while jumping. So there are so many different ways that we could do it again and again and again. So we're not just repeating and it doesn't become boring, but because we're changing it each time, it's fun. We can do team challenges. Maybe we can see if this team is louder than this team, or if this team is more quiet than this team. Maybe they come up with their own body movements and they perform for their class, for their friends. And of course, using props or musical instruments. Maybe they take a water bottle and we fill it with beads. Is my video frozen? Can everyone see everything? Okay. I think my screen froze. If you can see me, can you let me know in the chat box? Is everything okay? Am I still sharing my screen? Okay, perfect. Yes, that's a relief. Okay. My screen froze, so I was a little bit worried for a second. Okay, let's go back. All right. So maybe they take the water bottle and they fill it with beads, or maybe water and sparkles, and they have to shake it. They have to use it with the song. Okay, so in using the body movements, we're incorporating movement and touch. Maybe they have to touch their hands or touch their arms or touch their legs. We're incorporating hearing and sight. Yes. So we can also have them listen for certain keywords. This is from My First Grammar. It's an example from this book. And this game is on our YouTube as well. She goes over the words and then she lays the words out. And the teacher says the word, maybe fish, and they have to take a fly swatter and touch it. Now, sometimes it's dangerous for students to use fly swatters, so you can always have them touch with their hands. But for example, from this grammar book, the students are learning in, on, and under. So if the teacher says, look at the mice, they are on the car, the students have to find it in the picture and touch it faster than their classmates. Look at the rabbit, it is on the alligator, and they have to touch it. Maybe the teacher, it doesn't always have to be in the book. It can be in the classroom, or even like body parts. So maybe this is in, this is on, this is under. So if the teacher says, look at the gorillas, they are on the tent, they have to listen. They are under the tent. They are on the tent. So if the teacher is changing the sentences, the students can touch in the book, or maybe they can touch different body parts, or maybe on the table, in the backpack. So having them listen for keywords, but it can be grammar targets like in, on, under, or it can be sight words. Maybe they're reading a story, and every time they hear the sight word, they have to touch the, or maybe when they hear they have to hold up a ball. So listening for certain words is helpful for our auditory learners. Okay, and presentations. So here we are taking presentations. We saw this idea web earlier, but then after they create their idea web, then they put it into writing. And it's important that even in a writing class, we want them to be able to present it. Because yes, writing is important, but the whole point of EFL learning is being able to use it and speak. And that's what my webinar was on last time, is we want students, yes, it's good that they understand and they know the information, but they have to be able to use it and speak. So presentations help with that. It helps with confidence. So if students take their writing and they present it in front of their classmates, it's very beneficial. The box on the left side, this is from the teacher's manual of My First Writing, and it tells you exactly what to do, the materials you need, the idea web to go over with your students, different topics, have them talk about their ideas beforehand. So we're not just saying, here's the book, here's an idea web, create writing and present. The teacher's manual tells you step by step, okay, do this, brainstorm, talk about it. So we are having students incorporate, yes, they're using sight with their writing and with the diagrams, and yes, they're hearing and listening to each other. But we want to help them develop their ideas through this whole process. Okay, so how can we connect the senses for auditory learners? We can use simple visuals along with the audio. I feel like many times Sight and hearing go hand in hand. It's very helpful to have both as much as we possibly can. Yeah, especially with videos and things like that. Using audio, we have so much audio that you can download or online or on the ebook. Yeah, so it's very, very helpful to use audio in any series that you're using. Having partner discussions, maybe pronunciation, repetition activities, having them repeat again and again and again and again is really helpful. Touch, having them as they're listening, have them touch, have them clap, have them using things with their hands, like holding the ball for the keywords or touching different things as they hear certain words. Including action songs, maybe walk and talk activities, different surveys. And of course, with our taste and smell, for auditory learners, we can have them talking about different flavors, different scents. We want them to build listening skills and vocabulary skills. So for little learners, we can use claps and rhythm. Maybe they're saying sun, sun, or songs and chants are the biggest cheat sheet for little learners. Use them often because they really do work and they really do help. Integrate audio everywhere you possibly can. And even if there isn't audio with the activity, you can always make audio through discussions, through having students talk to each other. But like I did with the app, cap, use it during transitions or attention getting moments in the classroom, lining up through different routines. Use audio as much as you can. Repeat it again and again. And you can even have maybe hide flashcards or objects around the room. So you can call out a sound like s, and they have to find something that starts with s in the classroom, or p, and they have to try and find maybe a pencil, maybe a pen, maybe a poster. So for older learners, maybe we can change the speed. Like I said, let's do it fast, let's do it slow. Change the roles. One student's the teacher, one student is the student. Have game competitions, have them mingling to talk to each other. They're talking output and input naturally when they talk to each other. Yeah, so give example sentences, or maybe they create their own sentences, but put their names in the sentences. So even if they might be a little bit disengaged, if they hear their name, Hannah, I'm immediately going to be focused. The teacher's talking about me, but she's not talking about me. She's reading from the, maybe another student is reading from the story and they said my name. So I'm immediately going to listen. And this one right here, express your own ideas. That means if we as teachers, if we say our ideas out loud, of course, good filtered ideas, if we say our ideas out loud, then the students follow our example. Then they will start expressing, hopefully, they will start expressing their own ideas out loud as well. So if I start using my thinking, or if I start expressing my thinking process, like, okay, we have to go to lunch in 15 minutes. So maybe we could do this activity. Like, even if I just say what I'm thinking out loud, students know that it's okay to try and use our ideas, even if it's incorrect, right? We want to encourage confidence, and that's what that does. Okay, so moving on to our next superhero, Captain Kinesthetic. He learns through movement or role-playing to grasp different concepts. So he says, I put the act into activities. And I don't know if you have noticed, but a lot of my examples, a lot of my movements throughout this webinar are very kinesthetic. I'm always dancing or moving objects or touching objects, or even my hands as I talk is a lot. So that is how I learn. So yes, here are some ideas for students that are like me and like Captain Kinesthetic. So having the students jumping and moving and dancing. Here, the student jumps on the flashcard and says lap. And then the next student, lap, map, map. And they continue jumping and jumping, jam. So you can have them jumping on the cards, or you can have it in a relay race style. And then when they get to the end, they press the bell. Or you can have them, maybe they do rock, scissors, paper. And she wins, so she jumps. And then do it again. And then he wins, he jumps. So you could do it in a variety of different ways. So here from Smart Phonics, it is a reading section. But, so for example, the ram has jam, the ram has ham. And the students are selecting the correct sentence. However, we could insert all of the words here. They're practicing the sentence format. So even if they're saying the ram has a lap, the ram has a map, the ram has jam, the ram has a dam. Maybe they're saying the sentence again and again and again and again. So they're practicing the format of the sentence. And then after they've practiced creating and saying all of these sentences, then they go to the book and then they read it and they're identifying, okay, I remember that picture was ham. The ram has ham. Okay, we're going to check this one. So we could do these sorts of activities before doing the book activities. So with this activity, we are doing sight, and they're hearing and talking. They're saying the sentences. They're reading and writing. They are touching the cards. Maybe it doesn't have to be on the floor. It can be on the wall. Maybe they touch it on the wall while they say it. And with smell and taste. Let's talk about, out of these words, what can we smell? We can smell jam. We can smell a ram. Can we smell a nap? I don't think we can smell a nap. What about a ham? We can smell ham. Maybe a cap or a map. What about taste? What can we taste? Can we taste a map? Ugh, doesn't taste good. What about jam? Can we taste jam? Yes. Can we taste ham? Yes. Can we taste a nap? No. What about a dam? You can taste water. That's water, yeah. So talking about it is another way to incorporate all of the senses. So survey, have students stand up, have them move around, especially for older students that might not like dancing. This is how we get them to move. They walk around, they interview each other, they ask each other questions, and then they check in the book what their students say. And that naturally is increasing their conversational ability. Okay, and also having them move around the classroom. I use this example a lot too, because I like to use it, but it depends on the classroom, the size of the classroom, the energy of the students, the age of the students. So the teacher says 3, 2, 1. The students move to different parts of the classroom. Maybe the front is in, the back is on, the right side is under, and the teacher says 3, 2, 1. The students move, and the teacher reads, look at the snakes. They're under the table. The boy gets a point. Okay, everybody go back. 3, 2, 1, and they go to a different place. Look at the bike. It's in the pond. So you can do this by having different parts of the classroom designated as different targets. It can be different sounds for phonics. It can be different targets, like here we're doing prepositions for grammar, maybe different sentences. So you could really use it for anything. And they are moving, they're touching different, maybe cards around the classroom. They're listening and they're seeing. We can also, if you don't have a big classroom, you can do stand up or sit down. So with my first writing, we have students, maybe am is standing, is sitting, and are is wiggling. Okay, you can do stand, sit, different body movements. So maybe the teacher says, he is Mike. So the students sit down. Did I say that? Yeah. Am, standing, is sitting, are wiggling. So maybe the teacher says, he is Mike. So they sit. I am a boy. Stand. Jake and Tim are my brothers. The students are wiggling. So have different movements mean different things. And the students have to listen. Or maybe the teacher doesn't say the answer at all. Maybe she says, I am 9 years old. And based on what they think it is, they have to do the movement. So we can incorporate movement in almost everything, every activity that we do. So how can we connect the different senses for kinesthetic learners? We can follow visual clues, like I said, moving, doing different scavenger hunts, have them moving around the classroom, doing different TPR, total physical response. For hearing, have them respond to different keywords, different spoken commands through actions. When you say bug, you do this. Or like Simon says, you can say, Simon says, touch your head. They have to respond based on what you say. Touch. Have different stations or centers, using different manipulatives, using different things, maybe blocks. Have them saying targets while moving objects like balls or balloons. And they can learn through dances or relay races or action songs. And of course, taste and smelling. So being able to use cooking, tasting activities is nice, but again, because of allergies and restrictions, we can't do that. So pretend is everything. Having fake food, or even if it's pictures of food and pretending, or they're creating with their own ideas. Just different sensory exploration activities. So tips for little learners, adding gestures. Like for example, if they're learning the S sound, maybe they have to go S, right? They make an S in the air. S. Using arm motions. So for phonics, if they're learning blending, maybe this is, they're learning the app sound. So everybody, can you go like this with me? Show me your arm. This is ah, this is p. So we're going to say ah, p, ah, p, ah, p. Let's put it together. App. One more time. App. Now maybe this is k, k. Okay, let's try. We're going to say k, k, app. We learned app, app. So we're going to say k, app, k, app. Or maybe t, app, t, app. So yes, we can use flashcards for our tactile learners, but we can also do it with our kinesthetic learners. We can use different body motions, whether it's touching different parts of the body, maybe it's acting it out, maybe it's t, app, or doing different movements is really helpful as well. Like I said before, Simon says, or in my case, I like to say Hannah says. So I'll say, Hannah says, touch your head. Hannah says, touch your shoulders, touch your head. Oh, Hannah didn't say. So doing movements movement gains and activities, maybe we say the targets as we do the activity. The point is using visuals and kinesthetic movement, it keeps the joy factor high. And that's what's important for little learners. We want them to have fun. And for older learners, we can have them act out role plays in real life situations. They have them interview each other, have them doing presentations, use centers, have them rotate. Maybe they do this activity and the other group is doing a different activity. And then after 5 minutes, they switch. And simply the act of moving and doing a different activity is helpful for these kinesthetic learners. Add competitive games, team challenges, relay races, timed classroom tasks. There is a teacher, I have to mention Marietta, because we've been using her classroom activities in our social media because I love how she incorporates everything into her classes, but especially kinesthetic. She did an activity where the student was saying the phrase again and again and again as he was holding a spatula with the card on it. And he was saying, I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. But not just him, the entire class was saying it with him. And I just love how she used a moving kinesthetic activity in that way, where he's focused on not dropping the card, but he was also focused on saying the sentence at the same time. And they're saying it again and again and again and again. And I just loved how she incorporated everything into her classes. So yes, doing relay or moving activities, as long as they are moving and saying the targets at the same time, that's what's important. And let older students walk and talk and discuss. Again, we are building confidence, and giving them the freedom to do that, especially for older learners, is really, really helpful. Okay, so we're on to our next superhero, Miss Tactile. She learns through touching objects, hands-on experiences, experiments, play. She says the power is in the touch. So these are some things we're going to cover with Miss Tactile. We can use coloring for our young learners. This is a video example of my students. We put dinosaurs. Oh, thank you for the link, Monica. Yes, there's the video of Marietta. And so in this example here, the students are using popsicle sticks, and they are acting out the story. We can also use board games to review the multiple targets. So this is from Smart Phonics. They are practicing the sounds, the letter sounds. They're using vowel and consonants. So maybe hot. So they roll the dice and they move, and that's really, really helpful for our tactile learners. And using something like a phonics builder, I'm going to show you eFuture's phonics builder. But this is also something that you can make as well. I've made it before. But of course, this is something that we already have. But you can change, you can change the word simply by moving the letter. So okay, here is hop. So we move the letter and we create a new word. So this is great for our tactile learners. They're actually moving the card and creating new words. And this is something that can be purchased with our phonics series. However, if you are not able to, this is something that teachers can make. I've known teachers that have notebooks and they cut the notebooks. Of course, it's more work to make it yourself, but they take a notebook and they cut the notebook and they write the letters on the papers, and then the students can do it. But yeah, using something like that where students are taking the cards and they're creating new words simply with the letters. Okay, so CLIL, and we use it in almost every webinar we do because it is very important, especially for course books, but we also like to use it in reading series and different things. But CLIL is basically content and language integrated learning. It means school subjects. So social studies, math, science, art. It takes classroom subjects and it puts it into English language learning. So you'll see it in a lot of our course books and reading series and a lot of other series as well. So here in Let's Smile, we have a lot of CLIL. And you can take these lessons and you can do activities. So here they're learning math, they're learning shapes, and maybe you could create, for our tactile learners, you could create a craft, an activity where they cut the shapes and they have to create a shape monster. We could do activities like find and share. Maybe they have to find it in the classroom or find it in the playground, or show and tell. Maybe their homework is to find something that is a circle. So they go home and they try and find something that's a circle and they bring it into the class. But also, here my students are playing and we went on a field trip. So on the field trip, they have to find the shape, the certain shape, or maybe a color, or maybe a sound. Find something that starts with the letter S, makes an S sound. But also using imagination activities. Here for the science page, they're learning about animal eyes at night. So this is a lot of extra effort, but I like to create environments where students use their imagination. So I created a little forest with a paper fire. It's just Christmas lights. And then I put Christmas lights over a bed sheet, so we pretended like we could see the animal eyes at night. And again, we are using sight and hearing, talk about everything, talk about what it might smell like, what it might taste like, using touching, tactile activities. World Link. So having students in Let's Smile, there are World Link sections. So having them do the World Link activity, but also, so this is the lesson and it goes along, the World Link goes along with the lesson. So as you can see, our classroom, but previously they had learned at school. So it goes along together with the lesson. But have them do presentations, have them talk about their classroom, have them do different crafts, different activities that go along with the World Link. Board games. In Let's Smile, there are already board games in the book. It serves as a review. It's called the unit link, and you can see the lessons that it's reviewing. But then you can also print out big versions, and you can use the big versions in your classroom, or you can also use flashcards. So this is to show you a variety of ideas. You can use the book, but then you can also do it in the book, do a big version, and then you can do it with the flashcards. So here they are spinning the paperclip around the pencil, but then we can also use our pen, or maybe tic-tac-toe, and then we can use flashcards. And we can do this board game, but we can also use the board game using flashcards and little cars and a dice. So any chance we can to use tactile objects like flashcards, like game pieces, is a lot of fun for students. Have the students make the games. Here from the writing book, they are creating sentences, but we can have them do games like these here. I'll just show you quickly. There's one called Behind the Wall and a board game. She puts it around in a circle. And they spin the dice and they have to move the pieces. So you can use flashcards that we already have, but for series like writing or grammar where we don't have flashcards, have the students make the cards, especially the older students. It's that much more personal and meaningful for them if they are actually making it and investing in the game. So maybe one card says, we are sisters. Another card, we are brothers. They're using the sentences and the word practice from the book. Okay, so how can we connect the senses for tactile learners? And I'm going to speed up because we have 10 minutes and a lot to cover. So using flip cards, using foldables like this here, using interactive notebooks, and I hit my bell. And so tapping out sounds or syllables. So for tactile learners, again, touching, tapping, clapping, that's helpful when they're listening to things. Having them trace letters in sand or clay or shaving cream. And I will talk about that more in the next learning style as well. But then also exploring real objects, food, scents. I love the idea of the scent markers that you said earlier, having them explore real world situations. So here are more ideas for little learners, for older learners. Use sensory writing trays, hands-on tools, incorporating crafts, touch and feel activities like mystery bags. For older learners, interactive note-taking using sticky notes, having them make their own games, their own projects, have them create their own projects to show their understanding, using real-world material and hands-on review activities like games or card sorting or matching tasks. Okay, moving on to our radiant reader or writer. So his catchphrase is read, write, review, repeat. He learns by taking notes, making lists, writing, reading, and of course, reading books. So here is what we are going to cover with the radiant reader and writer. So first, before they read, they have to know phonics. And in our phonics series, we like to use E-future blending. And what that means is we focus on the last sounds first. So we have found that it is simple and fast and easier to teach and for students to learn by identifying the final sound first. So for example, they learn ah, they learn t, they blend it together, at, at. And then once they know at, and we've done at many times, then it's so simple to just add b at bat, k at cat, h at hat, m at mat. And we can do lots of blending games and activities with this. So for example, I would have a student come to the front. One student is ah, another student is So I have all of the students saying it. They say ah, and he moves. They say and she moves. Ah, ah, What is it together? Am, right? Am. Okay, let's try it again. We have ah, p, app. Okay, now we are going to add a different sound at the beginning. Here we go. App. Oh, wait, first we want to make sure they know what this is. So what is this? It's app. Okay, now she has app. We're going to add another letter in front. And of course, I will be using different students so they all get an opportunity to practice, to touch the cards for our tactile and kinesthetic learners. So everybody say and he moves. Everyone say app. 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 What is it together? Nap. So we can do it again with many different students many times. So we have nap, lap, zap. But then this time, j, app. J, app. J, app. Jap. Huh? Is that a word? And that leads me to nonsense words. So nonsense words are not real words. They follow the regular phonics patterns, but they do not have a meaning. And they are helpful for teachers. We can use them to check if the students are understanding phonics. And that's important so that they can decode longer, unknown words. We want them to know how to read, not just guessing the words. So, for example, I could write this on the board. K, at, cat. Is that a word? Yes. H, at, hat. Is that a word? Yes. M, at, mat. Is that a word? Yes. So we can identify the real words, but then we can maybe change some other ones. So we know cat, sat, flat is a word. But then what about z, at, zat? Is that a word? I don't know. Okay, let's try it again. Maybe g, at, gat. Is that a word? I don't think so, no. So we can have them identifying different words, even if it's not a real word. And of course, the phonics builder helps with this. So we know hop is a word and hip is a word. What about hep? Is that a word? No. So using something like this is really helpful as well. Okay. So tracing. And with writing, of course, they have to learn how to write first. So there, especially in the phonics book, there are a lot of practice activities for writing along with the target sounds. They are exposed to different sight words and different writing activities to help. But there are videos where students can, it's on our YouTube and it's on the ebook. The students follow along to the video. Now, I like to have students use their magic finger and we say the sound as we do it. So for example, take your magic finger and we're going to trace this video, but we have to say eh, 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 eh. Okay? Here we go. We're going to say eh, 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 eh. Now, not just with, oh, small e, eh, eh. But now we don't just have to use our finger. We can use our elbow. We can trace. Maybe we say H, ha, ha, ha. Or maybe we use our nose and we say maybe they're tracing on the table. Maybe trace an E on the table. Eh, 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 eh. Or on your hand. Or on your friend's back. Or on the wall, using your finger only, not a marker. Or maybe on different surfaces, or sand, or textured surfaces, or whiteboards. Just the point is, have them thinking about tracing before actually touching a pencil. So if we can have them practicing, and not just letter writing, but even if it's words, even if it's sentences, have them picture in their mind how to form the letters before they are actually even touching the paper. And that is especially helpful for our tactile learners by touching sand and tracing on different objects, but then also our kinesthetic learners by moving, sight, they're imagining in their mind. Yeah. And of course, sound, they're saying it. And apps are very helpful as well to help with reading and writing, whether it's tracing or different flashcards or stories that are on the apps. So this is from, Smart Phonics has an app and Let's Smile has an app as well. And there's an AI, Andy, that helps in Smart Phonics.
Let's practice phonics. Hi.
Okay, I'm skipping a little bit because of the sake of time. But if you have stayed till the very end, and I should have mentioned this at the beginning, then you get a special prize. So make sure you stay. We are almost done. Using an ebook is very helpful for all of the senses, whether it's sight or hearing or even tactile or movement. Students reading and writing, it's very, very helpful for all the learning styles because it's all right there for the teachers to use. So here we have a song and a chant,
Book.
flashcards with the audio. Here they're playing a matching game like we did at the beginning.
Book. See the ant.
They're reading a story
The ant is on
with
the bed.
subtitles.
See the cat. Bed.
So here, this is also, oops, I skipped. So here they are focusing on one thing at a time with the spotlight. This is in the bottom left corner, this feature. And they can focus on one thing at a time and identify what it is. So with the ebook, I wanted to show that it helps all the learning styles and it's very, very, very helpful. So I want to encourage you to utilize that. Also using workbooks and worksheets. It can be used at home if needed as homework, or it can be used in the classroom, depending on where you need it to work. And of course, with Smart Phonics, there are so many additional worksheets as well. So there are so many things to be downloaded and utilized for teachers. And also, we can have students, especially older students, make their own games. So here they are looking and writing using these pictures, but have them draw their own picture. Have them write their own sentence. Maybe they can change the sentence. Maybe instead of they are frogs, they can change it. They are cats. It is a house. Maybe they can change the sentence and change the cards. And then they play a game like this, where with a partner, they put it on their head. And they have to guess what it is. So just have the students, and the students can come up with their own games as well. So the more personalized that students make it, the more meaningful it is for them. Okay, so how can we connect all the senses for reading and writing learning styles? Using charts and subtitles and graphic organizers. Have students listen and take notes. Have them interact with different things like sticky notes or flashcards, sentence building cards, maybe moving around to different centers, doing a reading activity here, and then maybe a writing activity over here. Or maybe they're doing running dictation where they run and one student writes a letter and they run back. And then another student writes another letter and they run back. So using games, and have students, once they're older, they can write descriptive sentences and paragraphs about different foods or flavors or scents. So some tips for our little learners: go slow and spiral. Do things again and again and again. We don't need to teach many things all at once. Teach a few sounds and review them often through games and chants. We can use silly stories. Like if they're learning about the S sound, we can say, Sammy Snake sat on 6 socks. And we can make it silly and act it out. And then using music with reading, with writing. Keep the reading short and fun. For little learners, their attention span is really short. So we want to keep the reading opportunities engaging. And we can do it repetitively, but not for long periods of time. For older learners, again, repetition is important for both young and older learners. Connect the writing to real life. Encourage them to recognize the patterns. Maybe they're reading, and maybe you want them to notice the target that they're learning. It's in the reading. So make sure and point it out, or have them point it out. And encourage them to expand their ideas. Not just writing once, but rewriting again, making their sentences longer. Okay, that was a lot, but I don't know if you noticed, but some of the things were incorporated again and again and again, because the learning styles, the senses, I feel like it goes hand in hand. And it's really important when we can incorporate as many as possible. But as a teacher, you're already a hero. But I want to ask you, which superhero learning style do you use personally? Like I shared, mine is kinesthetic, tactile, and visual. So for you, can you type in the chat, what is your learning style? Is it speaking? Is it listening? Again, auditory is not always just speaking and listening together. Sometimes it's not together. But can you tell me, can you type and tell me, what is your learning style? Is it movement? Is it kinesthetic? Is it listening? Is it speaking? Is it visual? Is it tactile? Is it reading? Is it writing? Touching and moving? Yeah, me too. I feel like a lot of young learners are like that as well. Touching and moving, and visuals, moving too. I feel like as teachers, because we're doing so many things at one time, we're naturally multitaskers, and we're really good with movement. But that's just what I think. That's just my idea. So can everyone else let me know? Yeah, that's true. The only chance to make them cooperate. So as you're telling me your learning style, I want to encourage you, the teacher's manual, it always gives different ideas, maybe warm-up activity ideas, wrap-up activity ideas. And yeah, there are so many things that can be downloaded as well. Answer keys, different classroom materials, flashcards. So I really want to encourage you to download everything that you can, utilize everything that you can. Tests, helpful for students and teachers. With Let's Smile, we have speaking tests, placement tests, unit tests, listening tests, midterm tests, Wiley test prep. So there are so many different practices for tests, that are helpful. So in summary, whenever we're teaching phonics, it's important not just to teach the rules. We want students to learn naturally through different learning styles, through different games and activities and songs and chants and stories. And when students are doing these things, we want to praise their effort, not just their perfection. We want to say, wow, that was great. Let's try it one more time because you did it such a great time. You did such a good job. Let's try it one more time and do it again and again. So I want to thank you. Make sure you check out our website, download what you can, but also we have social media. And because you stayed till the end, you will also get a special email that has access to eSmart Class, and also the link for this recording as well. And make sure you come back in 2 weeks for the next webinar. And does anybody have any questions before we end? Thank you, Monica. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great night. I'll wait just a couple of minutes before we end if there are any questions. And again, if you do have any questions, you can contact Monica. You can contact us here. This is our social media, the eFuture. But then also we have our wonderful partner in Poland who creates amazing content. And she's the one that sends you the email. So if you need anything, you can contact her as well. Yes, hello@efuture.pro. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying till the end. I hope you have a great night. Thank you for your ideas as well. Really, really helpful.